So, what happens when you go on a diet or when you stop eating? How does the body react? People think that they'll lose weight, which they will, but what they don't understand is that it's just water weight. It's not actual fat. You want to lose the fat and the storage, not just water. When you drastically reduce calories, your body goes into a famine mode. Now, you have to remember your body's really, really smart and instinctive, and it knows when it's not getting as much food as it used to or when food seems scarce. Your body's also very loving and protective. It loves you, obviously. It wants to keep you alive. It wants to keep itself alive. And so when you stop eating, what happens is your body goes into this famine survival mode and it thinks, we're not getting enough food, there must be a famine. Because you have to remember, famines were a thing. People were dependent on the food that came from the ground. And when you're a farmer, you know that there's times when it doesn't rain when you need it to rain, or when there is a famine or a drought, and you're dependent on the weather. And that's how all of society worldwide was for so many years until about 200 years ago with the Industrial Revolution and then with technology. And so people were very dependent on the weather, and famine was a real thing. Our bodies are designed to know when there's a shortage of food because there actually were shortages of food often for people sometimes. But your body loves you and it protects you. And when it feels like there's any kind of famine, and it doesn't have to just be famine because of the weather, it could be any lack of food. So if you go through war, if you become poverty stricken, if you do get a disease, or if you just stop eating for the sake of trying to lose weight, your body counts it all the same as there's a shortage of food. We need to protect this body. And the way it protects the body is it holds on to the storage it already has. So if you're not overweight and there's a shortage of food, you're not going to survive as long as someone who is overweight just because they have more fat on their body, and the body will eventually use that fat. The problem is it won't use that fat for a while, and what it uses first, or what it loses first, is water. So the body loses these elements of your body first. First, it will get rid of any water. And you have to understand there's a lot of water in your body. We're made up of some 70% of water, and water weighs a lot of weight. So you can lose a lot of weight. You can lose a ton of weight and have it still just be water. You can lose a lot of water and a lot of weight at the same time, but you don't want to lose water because you become dehydrated. And I'm going to touch on that in a second. The second thing the body will lose is the fat, is the storage. So if there's a lack of food, it will get rid of water first because it has a lot of it in your body, and it doesn't necessarily use water as much for fuel as it does calories when it really needs a lot of fuel. So it will lose water first, then it will lose your fat and storage, and then it will start to eat its own muscle. It will lose muscle. That's when you see starving people in poverty-stricken areas, why they look so skeletal with a bloated belly, because their muscles, their body has eaten their muscles, and so it looks so skeletal. Their body has already gotten rid of all the water, except for some stale water. It's eaten all of their storage and all of the fat, and now it's eating their muscle. That's true starvation. However, you can be overweight and still be malnourished. You can still be in a state of chronic hunger, but not show the same way a chronically starving person would, like I just described. But you can still be chronically hungry because you're malnourished. The body does not count calories, it just counts nutrients. Even if you eat 5,000 calories a day, if you don't get any nutrients, you're still going to be left hungry, and you're still going to be very malnourished because there's no vitamins or minerals in that food that you ate. And so you can be very overweight and still be very, very malnourished and hungry. On the other hand, you can also be very thin and not eat very much, but the foods that you do eat have so much nutrients and are so dense in fiber and everything your body needs, that you feel full long term. You feel full all day, even though you might not have eaten that much food. So it's not about how much food you eat, and it's not about how many calories. It is completely all about how nutritious the food is. So the body doesn't know how long the famine or this period of not having food like it used to have is going to be. It doesn't know the length of time. And so it's going to hold on to the storage, to the fats. If you stop eating food, it's going to hold on to your fat because it doesn't know how long it's going to need any extra fuel. Your body wants you to remain alive, and the way that you remain alive is to fuel your muscles and fuel your organs and systems, and it can only do that through fuel. So if you have excess storage on your body, it's going to hold on to that because it's thinking in the future, we don't know how long this food shortage is going to be, so we're going to have to use this fuel in case we need it in the future.